All right. Papa's got a brand new bag. Colorado's got a brand new season. The Buffaloes opening up after a great breakthrough year last year and a brand new assistant basketball coach. We'll get to all of that on Rockin Company's Rockin CU with Adam Munsterteiger. Follow him at AdamCM777 and as the editor of must-reading busstampede.com. And Rockin Company, making Colorado beautiful with natural stone construction for 5 decades. Rockin Co, rockinco.com. And framed art, framer to the pros, Roby, Bailey, DeMarcus Ware, Ronald Leary, Rod Smith with over 20 jerseys, and all the colleges as well. Brian Hart at 3065 South Broadway. Framed art, we've been celebrating. They voted best framer by the community newspapers of Englewood, Littleton, Centennial, and Lone Tree. And we welcome in. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning, Michael.
Is this a...
Hi, Adam. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
This is Back to the Future here with Mark Knudsen. You gotta. The reason you didn't last as a co-host at a show is your initials are not MK.
That's right.
It seems. So
we can't let a former Nebraska Cornhusker hijack this segment, though.
Former,
Michael.
I'm a Ram, but I'm a fan.
He wasn't good enough to be a Nebraska one. He had to be a CSU guy.
Exactly.
He couldn't even qualify. He just roots for the. He's a wannabe.
Family roots, guys. Family roots.
Well, and you're an Arizona State guy.
That's
talking
right.
to us about the Buffs. So we all have weird pedigree here.
And Michael went to about 4 schools.
I went to
State,
most colleges
Oklahoma.
in America.
Yeah,
I went to Ohio State, Oklahoma, Notre Dame.
He went to Notre Dame.
But it was College of Notre Dame in Baltimore. I integrated a women's Catholic college, which police escorts, a lot of violence, a lot of threats. The Catholic girls, they're vicious.
I'm waiting for the book.
So all that said, I don't know if you have practice today to cover or not, but some quick takeaways on the preseason camp, and particularly I think we're all interested in the quarterbacks. Montez, and should he go down as Lufau did last year, giving Montez his chance, what do some of the young guys, especially the new guys, look like?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, they do have a scrimmage today. It's unfortunately going to be closed to the public and media. They did have an open scrimmage last Saturday, and Sam Neuer, the backup quarterback, was definitely one of the stars of that day. Now, certainly, him going up against the second-team defense is not exactly going to be the same as Steven Montez going up against the ones, but Neuer, since he got on campus, really has turned heads, and we didn't really know what to make of him coming in because he was from Oregon, was a 3-star guy that only had 2 other offers, no other power conference offers. But from day one, he's shown really good accuracy. He actually, as Brian Lindgren, the offense coordinator, said, might be their fastest quarterback, and certainly Montez has got some wheels, so that's saying something. And McIntyre said that Sam Neuer today is about where Steven Montez was a year ago at this point, and is actually in better shape because Montez a year ago was coming back from an ankle injury. So they certainly have a capable backup, and then Tyler Lytle, who came in as an early enrollee quarterback, has done some really nice things too. This is definitely the most arm talent that they've had in this program since I began covering it, and some people talk about how you have to go back even further than that because all 3 of these guys can sling the rock for sure.
Yeah, we're talking off the air, and I'm going to ask a question for Mark Knudsen here. He's got me going off the air here. Last year, you talk about skill set. Sefo Lufau led with his chin, a guy whose intangibles were out front. His toughness is what carried him and his team. Steven Montez comes in with many more skills than Sefo Lufau, a much higher ceiling. Where does he stack up on the intangible part?
It's very different than Sefo Lufau, who is very much a blue-collar kid, very mature, wise beyond his years, and was somebody that people followed because, as you mentioned, his toughness was second to none. Steven Montez has an air of confidence about him that's bordering on cocky. It's a different way to rally behind him. He can make plays that Sefo Lufau could only dream of with his arm. Now, he's a gunslinger, so there's going to be moments when you just shake your head in awe and moments when you shake your head in frustration. The first play of last Saturday's open scrimmage was an interception by Ryan Moeller. The first play of the spring game picked by Nick Fisher. So he's going to throw quite a few interceptions. I think you're going to look at his stat line being probably I don't know, 28-plus touchdowns, but he's going to be in the teens with interceptions, in my opinion, just because he takes certain chances. Now, the team certainly saw what he's capable of in a couple games last year, and I think that's made it easier for them to rally behind him as well. So he takes command of that offense, but in a different way than Lufau did.
Anyway, Lufau can transport some of those intangibles to Paxton Lynch? Just curious.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole different topic. But Seppo was a really unique person. He really was, and so I think maybe some people downplay what the loss of him just from an intangible standpoint is for sure.
I'm in total agreement.
I want to make sure we get to the basketball, but I want to ask you about the defense. When you look around the country and the coaches poll, Colorado just outside the top 25 at 27. Other people have them down in the 30s, and it's all because they're replacing 8 starters on defense. Now, they've got a lot of experience. That 8 starters is not exactly correct, but so far, what's your take on how strong this defense can be?
Yeah, I think they could be middle of the Pac-12. We saw them actually hold their own against that first-team offense that everybody's lauding this preseason in that scrimmage last Saturday. And, yeah, the offense has gotten the better of the defense through 12 preseason practices. That was to be expected. But there's more talent on this defense than I think a lot of people are giving them credit for. Certainly Derek McCartney coming back with all that experience is huge for them. You can't expect them, though, to be quite as salty as they were last year. And then, the other big wild card, we talked about Cepho, Lufau, and his intangibles on offense, and the Levitt factor and how much him leaving for Oregon, it's really hard to quantify. Obviously they bring in another Power 5 defensive coordinator to and keep all the terminology. So it all sounds good in the preseason, but the proof is in the pudding. We'll see if that actually holds true once they get out there and live bolts are flying. But I really like the secondary, believe it or not. Obviously they had 3 guys drafted to the NFL. There's not as much depth there with the whole Anthony Julme situation up in the air at this point, but Trey Udofia, redshirt freshman's really come on in taking command of that cornerback spot opposite Isaiah Oliver, and Nick Fisher will step into that Tedrick Thompson role. And so I think they have the pieces there. The question will be defensive line and then backup linebacker more so than the secondary.
Adam, I'm with you totally about Levitt. I think he's remarkable, and I think they're going to miss him a lot. Anybody would. Any team would miss Jim Levitt. Oregon's going to miss him next year when he takes over the Kansas State head coaching job the year after this. Watch that happen.
Yeah, I want to
make real quick question.
Yeah.
The Tumpkin situation. Looking at that the way I look at it right now, I see that as being absolutely a non-factor in the football season. Is that fair? I don't think there's anything to that's going to linger.
Not the Tumpkin saga, I don't think is going to linger, but Tumpkin as a coach, actually, I think people are undervaluing what he brought to the staff. Jim Levitt would come in at halftime and give his rah-rah speech, and it was Joe Tumpkin that would go up to the board with his second-half defensive adjustments and was really key to them defensively from a scheme standpoint. So I think some people might undervalue that part of it. But these players, yeah, they heard bits and pieces throughout that whole thing, but that really wasn't something that was affecting them on a daily basis.
You got a new assistant coach up at CU. I'm not sure where he fits in the pecking order in terms of the order of coaches up there. Kim English, whose game at Missouri, I loved his game. What a shooter. He was part of a terrific Missouri team. Colorado coming off their best, highest-rated recruiting season ever. How does Kim English fit in on the basketball side?
Well, yeah, definitely big into recruiting. Kim English was promoted about a year and a few months ago, and he actually, in just that little more than a year, helped Tulsa pull in 3 signees, 2 of those guys, 3-star guys going to Tulsa, so he can recruit a young guy. And I think it helps from a basketball side in the fact that he's younger and can relate to these players a little bit. I think that was something that was missing when Rodney Billups left the staff to go to DU, and they brought in Bill Greer, who's a really good coach, but he's an older guy. And you certainly didn't want to see Jean Prelot leave this program. He was named the new head coach at San Jose State. But I think this influx of youth into the coaching staff will be huge for them from a recruiting standpoint. And then again, just, sometimes these players have issues that they might not feel comfortable going to Tad Boyle about, and to have a younger guy that they can relate to and look and see the success he had. He didn't play a long time in the NBA, but he had a successful career overseas. And so I think that will help them on the staff quite a bit.
I don't remember ever seeing this before, but Elijah Parquette, maybe it happened in the 60s, a 6'4", 185-pound combination guard from Beaumont, Texas, Westbrook, lists his top 5, and the top 5 has Colorado and Denver University vying for this recruit. This is unusual.
Yeah, and Colorado and Virginia Tech are basically his big offers at this point, and so I think sometimes you want to round out a top 5 with other schools that have offered, but Denver's really not in the mix here. He's pretty much going to go to Colorado as long as that offer remains committable as he takes his time, and he's expected to come out and visit in September. But yeah, I wouldn't, even though DU's in his top 5 with CU, it's not really going to probably come down to a head-to-head battle between those.
Is there going to be a lot of battles between Tad Boyle and Rodney Phillips for recruits?
I don't think so. I think Rodney kind of understands the level they're on, and he's done a great job there. Certainly no downplaying what he's done there.
Absolutely. Next week we'll get to the top basketball recruits that you have identified through the staff there at University of Colorado. In our last 20 seconds, tell us about the Gold Sheet.
The Gold Sheet I can't tell you, but I can tell you about BuffStampede.com. No.
That's right.
But yeah, no, we have you covered this preseason, and I've got some recruiting updates coming as well. So definitely the most comprehensive coverage of CU. So check us out.
Adam Munsterteiger, he is the editor of BuffStampede.com. I'm on automatic pilot here already. Follow him at AdamCM777. That's Rockin Company's Rockin CU.
Turn into crystal tears.